Welcome to this very special edition of Conversations with Robin Farr. In the next hour, we will be taking a local look at a problem that is sweeping the nation, a problem so insidious that young people are either dying needlessly or living a life of daily struggle. We're talking about prescription drug abuse, and if you think this can't possibly touch your life, think again. Over the next hour, we'll be talking with a San Ramon mother whose son, a lovable, popular college senior, lost his life in December following a celebration of the end of finals and the beginning of winter break. We'll talk with a local high school assistant principal who sees daily the effects of prescription drug abuse in our teens. We'll meet a local medical doctor and one of his patients to learn about the physical effects of prescription drug abuse, where our kids are getting the meds, and what parents and friends should look out for. And finally, a local father whose children were run over and killed by a drunk driver who was also using pain medication, and what he is doing in Sacramento to make sure this doesn't happen to other families. The stories are sad, and they're happening right on your block, yet each of my guests is doing something about this horrible problem that is killing young people and destroying families. If you have teens at home, please press the record button and have them sit down and watch this with you. It's just that important. We begin with my first guest, April Rovero. Many of you know April and her work with the Seroptimists of San Ramon. She's even been a guest on Conversations in the past, talking about her work with the Young Women's Conference, She's All That, which is all about empowering middle school girls to deal with the difficulties of that age. April contacted me a few months ago asking about doing an awareness show on prescription drug abuse, following the very tragic tale of her son's accidental overdose last winter while a student at Arizona State University. April, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I know this isn't easy, but very necessary.
No, thank you very much.
Let's talk, first of all, let's get to know Joey Rovero. What was he like as a little boy, his teen years, and up through college?
Oh gosh, Joey from the beginning, he was, of his birth, was just a joy. He was a very happy little boy, absolutely typical in the fact he was a boy running around all the time, getting into mischief, but just a very happy child. I often called him my mystery child, though, because I just kind of wondered and really had to marvel at what he might become in the end, because he had so many different creative energies around him, and I really felt that there was going to be something really special about him as he grew up.
A happy baby. And then
really
what were his likes? What are some of the things that he did? Sports was the big deal.
Sports.
Huh?
He started playing soccer when he was 4 years old, and he continued that until he was in 8th grade, and had been so insistent that he move into football. We allowed that to finally happen.
Yes. Yeah.
So football was his dream and his passion really through high school. So he played for Cal High over in San Ramon, and did a great job there. Just had a really wonderful career of going out there and rough and toughing it with the guys. There he also created just a huge circle of really, really close friends. Everybody that was on the football team, they had a new coach that came in and really had them working very hard to build the team back up. And so as a result of all that pain and suffering through the team, he really grew some very, very close relationships that were with him to the very end and continue beyond that, as you'll hear.
And then so he graduated from Cal High. What year did he graduate?
2006.
2006, of course, graduated from Cal High.
Yes.
And the dreams of going on to a 4-year university realized right then and there.
Sure.
He went to Arizona State University. Why did he choose that school?
I think it was the weather. I think it was the beautiful girls. I think it was just the location close enough to home so he could get away but still be attached to us. He was very close to us, and we had a lot of really wonderful conversations and meetings with them and family visits, you know, even while he was away from school, of course.
What was he majoring in?
He was an interdisciplinary student focused on, it was business and communication.
Right.
So, so those two we felt would, he didn't really know, again, kind of the mystery. He didn't know quite what he wanted to do, but he felt those were two good majors to be focused on, and he was just 5 months away from graduating when he passed on. He would have been graduating this coming May, well, next month.
Yes.
So.
Well, let me ask you then, tell us about what happened on that night. It's December 18th.
Right.
But you can back us up a little bit, telling the story a little bit. What exactly happened? Because, I mean, all of us watching this are thinking, I know what I was doing at that time. It's so near to Christmas, and it's so, everybody is coming back home again, sort of a feeling. What was going on for him that week?
The plans were definitely for him to do that. On December 15th, which was a Tuesday, he finished up with his last finals and he was done. He had been taking 5 classes, so he had a really heavy load that semester, but he was done. He had originally planned on coming home on Wednesday. on the 16th, but he called home and told his dad he was going to delay until Saturday because there were celebrations happening around the birthday of one of his friends and the graduation of another one of his friends who he knew was going to be taking a job in Texas, and he wanted to see him off.
Sure.
So basically, from what we have been told, there was just 2 days of pretty solid partying. When the boys and the girls there get together, they typically do drink. Alcohol is very much in the environment. What we had no idea of, though, is that prescription drugs are also very much in the environment for those that want to get involved with that. Up to that point, I believe, again, based on friends' input, I believe Joey may have dabbled a little bit in some of these drugs, but he absolutely wasn't addicted to them at this point. He wasn't an habitual user. And because of that, he didn't have a tolerance built up as addicts do over time. The more you take, the more you need. And that wasn't the case with him. He really didn't know what his tolerance levels were and had no idea that literally one pill would mean the difference between life and death for him, which is bottom line what happened.
So do you know exactly what it was that he consumed?
I do, yes. We just this week, it's been a torturous situation waiting for the toxicology report and the final coroner's report. We still don't have the final report, but due to escalating to the governor of Arizona and some other things, we finally got at least the toxicology results. Bottom line is he had Percocet, Soma, and Xanax in his system, plus some alcohol, none of the individual levels were enough to kill him, but the combination was.
So really, you could almost say one pill.
One pill, literally. One pill, literally. We believe probably one last Xanax, just because he woke up and didn't feel so good because of all the partying, and he took one more to just put him to sleep, he thought, and it put him to sleep forever.
What do you know of what happened on the 18th and then when you got the phone call, what was told to you? How did that unfold?
Well, it unfolded strangely. We started out the evening at a Christmas pageant of sorts for our little granddaughter who was 5, and she was a little angel dressed up beautifully in her little white outfit with the halo.
Ironic, isn't it?
It is ironic looking back. And so the whole family, Joey was the only one not with us that night, but we all went to the church and went through this little pageant. Afterwards, we went to a pizza restaurant and had dinner together. And then my husband and I headed for home, and they headed for their homes. We were only 5 minutes away from my other son's house in San Ramon. And so we got home, and I had just barely walked in the door when I got a call from our daughter-in-law, and she said, "April, get Joe and get over here now." And I tried to, well, why? What's up? And she wouldn't say. She'd just get him and come. So I had, of course, millions of things flashing through my mind, but mostly just get there as fast as you can. Thinking perhaps it was my oldest son who has a heart murmur and an aortic valve problem. So I've always got that on the back of my mind as a possibility for him. Her mother had been with us and she had been ill, so I thought maybe her mother had had a problem. We need to watch the kids, or maybe something happened with the one of the 3 grandkids we have. Never thought it would be Joey. He was the last thing on my mind. But we pulled up to the house, and my son comes running out, and he said, "Mom, they found Joey unconscious in his bedroom at his apartment, and we don't know if he's alive or dead at this point." So we're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. The only way we knew about it was Joey's girlfriend, Kelly, who had come back home a day early because she wasn't 21 and knew she couldn't party with them at the nightclub. They had all the celebration going on the 17th. Was there, and she's the one that had alerted my daughter-in-law to the fact that something was wrong with Joey. So she was there, and so we were all huddled together trying to figure out, what do we do now? How do we really get the real scoop? Kelly was calling all these friends of theirs back in Arizona. Nobody was responding. So I just suggested to my husband, just call the Tempe Police Department. Surely they'll know if there's been a death or some problem. They'll surely know. He was on the phone for about a half hour and ultimately came back out to us and said he's gone. He is gone. So our world just dropped out.
Oh, just fell apart. I'm sure in the days following, if you ever were able to get any sleep, that you would wake up thinking, oh, that was just a bad dream.
You wanted it to be.
You wanted it to be, and then the reality is hitting again and again. That
no, not
this
having
wasn't
any idea that prescription drugs were any part of his environment. We didn't know it was an insidious, so you mentioned that word before, insidious problem on campus there. And I've come to learn on most campuses throughout the country, it's very much a culture building thing. The kids use the stuff, they think nothing of it. In the month that Joey died, 3 students, including him, passed away from prescription drug abuse on campus at Arizona State University. Yet it never hit even the local papers.
It's just,
it's mind-boggling.
How you then are, I mean, when a parent goes through a tragedy like this, I mean, how you're able to get yourself back up again. And yet not only have you done that, but you have, I mean, you're here today to share the story so that this doesn't happen to other people. Tell us what you've put together.
Oh gosh, well, it's so important to me that this not happen to any more children out there than possible. So it's healing for me to be able to share my story about Joey. He was a great kid. We were a good family. This could happen literally to anybody.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want the message to be about. So many people try to kind of sweep it under the carpet. They don't want people looking at their families in a way that, you know, they feel would be destructive. But I don't feel that at all. I feel a strong, strong need to get the message out. It needs to be known that this is a problem. It's literally an epidemic. I've come to learn more than I ever thought possible about this subject. And the more I learn, the more horrified I am by it. So we put a coalition together. It's a national coalition against prescription drug abuse, and so our focus will be on that. It's going to be about awareness primarily, helping with legislation. We'll be hearing Bob Pack here later. I know in your show that's going to be talking about the Cures bill, so we've partnered with him to help pass that bill. We'll be no doubt introducing new legislation. I've basically assembled a whole collection of parents from throughout the country and including Canada together who are very focused. They've been affected by this also, almost all of them, by their children dying. So we're all looking together at what we're doing out there in the country and individually making a difference, but how can we collectively make a bigger difference through the coalition that we've established is what our focus is on.
It strikes me that, you know, he didn't have alcohol problem in high school. This wasn't a, I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't dabble, you know.
I'm sure he dabbled.
Yes, okay.
I'm sure of that.
But I think as parents are watching this, that there should be no reassurance for them that, oh, this couldn't happen to my child because my child doesn't do. Joey didn't do this kind of thing.
No, he was not into this. He again, dabbled, I'm sure. However, we kept close watch on him. He was a healthy kid. If you look at pictures of him, he had a beautiful physique. He worked out every day. He was very much into health. Took many steps. He wouldn't drink and drive. He once walked home 2 miles from his friend's house in the evening when he was here on summer break because he didn't want to drink and drive. And a San Ramon police officer pulled him over and wanted to know, why are you out so late? And he said, I'm walking home.
I'm walking instead of driving.
Yeah. So he was very careful. And even with the prescription drugs, he felt because he got them from a doctor.
Right.
It wasn't like buying illegal drugs on the street.
Yeah.
He wasn't into that at all, but he felt that this would be a safe way for him to go. So, I don't know.
It's a warning to every parent, and I think the important thing, we're going to be talking about it later in the show, but this idea of dirty doctors and, you know, people with medical degrees making money off of these sorts of things. It's just horrible. I hope you'll stay with me. We've got a few segments that I really think that we could really use your input.
I'd be pleased to. Thank you.
I'm really so happy that you're here. When we come back, we'll meet the assistant principal of Dublin High School and learn about the reality of what's going on with our teens and prescription drug abuse on this special edition of Conversations with Robin Farr. Please stay with us.